item D then is review of our 3-year district technology plan.
30 years. You're going to have this every year.
Yeah.
3 big ones.
I brought a couple stragglers along. Boy, Barb, this thing's a little low. Got to be smart, Barb.
That's right.
Good evening, everyone. I know Cindy gave you 2 handouts. One is the goal sheet from the tech plan. Mr. Hay and Mr. Buss behind me were 2 of the members of the committee that put this together. So we're Mrs. Artie and Mr. Gorder. If you've had a chance to read through them and you have any questions about things, we've laid out the goals for the district level, elementary and secondary level. A lot of themes there that you will see, the integration of technology everywhere and anywhere. You will see the online blended learning concept, which will pop up throughout. And then on the other sheet, we've broke down the years and our goals of each of the years, starting with this year with the 11-12, what we've done within the year and what's yet to be done, and then working through that whole process. If you have any questions on it, have you read it over, or would you like me to go through it in some detail to describe the process and what we came up with the plan? It's really over the years, plans have been very what we're buying oriented, and this was an exciting process because we focused a lot more on the what we're doing in the classroom and the educational side. The blended learning is something that's here. It's here to stay. If you haven't read or heard about this concept, students' ability to learn anywhere and everywhere, there's a website called Khan Academy. It's an exciting, came from a project that Bill Gates founded as part of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Their concept of learning, anyone can learn anywhere, everywhere. And it's an exciting little twist on things. Some pretty excellent content out there in that. And we're bringing that concept into Tomah, and we have already been doing this. We've had teachers who have been recording content, believe it or not, way back to Greg Beaver was recording content and putting it on a VCR tape and handing it out to students to take home. But technology is really changing that, our ability to take this content and put it out onto YouTube and create links to that. And there's something to be said for our ability to create our own content as well as utilize existing content that's out there. There's a lot of people that have been doing this for some time now have shown that the outside content is wonderful and great, but the whole trust, they liken it to students learn better with their teacher than a sub who comes into play. And that whole idea that somebody from MIT can show me how to do calculus, but that trust that I've created with that teacher gives me more when I'm watching them on a video of the content that's there. One thing you'll also notice, we're doing an iPad pilot. We started that this year, get our feet wet in the iPad world. We've got a number of teachers in the elementary level. We've tried a number of different approaches, single iPad in a classroom, quantity of iPads in a classroom, to get feedback on from them as to what works well, issues, road bumps that we will hit as we go through this process. So it's exciting. I definitely see that whole, when I watched my 2-year-old fire up the iPad and jump to Wonder Pets on Netflix with a few swicks of their finger, it's an amazing thing that children at a young age adhere to that. They get that technology very quickly. But as we move up, the iPad will be, and the tablet idea will be part of that world, but there's still a need for a device that produces content. The tablets are very consumer-oriented, but that world will change as well. We're seeing now where our LMC, we will now be able to have e-books and students be able to check out books via our software by their iPad or whatever device they bring in as well. So.
I have a question. In the plan, you are connecting with having the Wi-Fi connectivity and then also the mobile tablet labs. What's the committee's thought process on, at some point, each of the students having their own either iPad or laptop? Because some schools have been going to that, and I know you probably have talked about it. I'm just curious where you're headed in that direction, or if it's a different path.
The concept of one-to-one has been around, for a number of years. And it's something that's going to come. There are a number of variables that are going to make that happen. One thing that's going to happen is the bring your own device concept, where students who are able to are bringing their own device in and jumping onto our wireless, as our students can do at this point. The other thing that's going to really drive this is just the cost of technology. You're going to see a tablet device in the $150 to $200 range. You see the Kindle, Amazon Kindle Fire, but you're going to see a more high-end device in that $150 to $200 range in the not-so-distant future. So when you look at a computer lab, in days of old, we would target an $800 price tag on a computer. Well, now when we go into a lab of 25 computers and that hits a replacement cycle, now our quantity can really explode under that same dollar amount. Districts that have done one-to-one, I will tell you, there have been a lot of failures out there, and one of the Bill Gates Foundation schools, which was one of the first ones, showed that. A lot of money, every student got a computer, everything was, and it failed. And it failed because the planning and what comes behind the technology wasn't done correctly. And I think our approach to step out onto the ice lightly, and there are a lot of districts that are spending a lot of money to go and push the one-to-one, but I think at Tomah we're doing it as usual, our sitting back and doing it the right way. It will come, most definitely. I think it's just I don't want my son, when he's at high school, lugging around a bunch of books, and I'm sure at that point that will be a reality.
Mr. Potter, the question I had too was, and I think that led right into it, is the part about the professional development for the staff, and you've got that outlined really pretty well over the next few years. How do you envision, or maybe Mr. Bess and Mr. Hayno too, but one of the elements was that you'd require all staff to complete a technology project as part of their great plan. Would that be a classroom project utilizing technology, or just something independent from that, or how would you visualize that?
Well, I think one of the things we talked about as a committee is that in every aspect that we're looking at from education within our buildings, we need to make sure that we're continuing to raise the bar. And raising the bar for our minimum level of expectations are, and technology is no different. We have to look at ways that our staff members are utilizing technology from an instructional perspective. And if there are certain levels of expectations that we're asking for our staff as a whole, we need to be able to identify those. There certainly will be, and there already are, staff members that are well beyond what we would consider being the bar at this point. And we're looking at raising that bar, just as we are for our students, to make sure that our staff are giving our students what they need through technology, not just through traditional means as well.
Okay.
Does that?
It does, right. That's what I wanted to get at, is that every classroom teacher is going to have the opportunity. Some of them, like you said, are already way beyond where we
And with all these two, as laid out in the plan, this isn't
Sure,
something we're going to spontaneously expect everyone to be subject matter experts today.
Right.
It's where the expectations are in a 3-year plan to slowly but surely give individuals the opportunity for professional development, opportunity to work through with in small groups or even in one-on-one with our technology individuals throughout the district. Not something we just expect them at one day, all of a sudden it's magically going to dawn on them how to do that. There's going to be training opportunities to do so.
That's what I want to be sure of, so
Yes.
that we're giving them all the opportunities they need to become that expert that they need to be for the
Yes.
student and for themselves.
And I think that ties in back to the last point Paul made on the question of one-to-one, that if we can take all the technology in the world and put it in people's hands, and we're not going to transform education if we don't focus on what we're going to do with it that makes a difference in kids' lives and in classrooms. So I think that's the key. It's going to be training when you look at the spectrum of where staff is at. We talked about putting out a menu of examples of different things that they could do, because what is exciting and new and engaging in one content area or classroom can be very different than another content area or classroom. And so we really need to individualize the instruction for our staff, just like we expect them to do for our kids.
And I would just add, too, I was out at Wyville at a PTO meeting last Monday night, and the PTO wants to purchase iPads, from fundraising that they've done, and it's wonderful that we have a lot of groups like that who want to assist us in the technology project, but even the classroom teachers that were part of that meeting said, you've got to train me first. So before you put these iPads in, I need to have my hands on one and understand how it operates and figure out what I can use it for to improve instruction. And that is the critical piece that we've got to make sure is in place before we dump all this technology into classrooms. People have to know how they're going to be able to use it to improve student achievement.
I'll jump on the back of that and say, in 16 years here, we've done a lot of things that have been a lot of infrastructure things. I mean, and I think that we can, in this district, stand out and be pretty proud of that. But until Teresa came here, Teresa Payne, to really go to the people, the teachers that are in the classroom, and really work with them one-on-one to really drive that part of it. I think that's been a huge positive for us here, having that person to, Scott can run wires, Ryan can set up the workstations, I can write software, but that other piece has been extremely important, and that's just going to continue to, as we do these other things, become more and more important.
And you see that as part of the plan. We are advocating that we hire an additional staff member for next year that will focus on the secondary level, to be working with teachers for getting coursework online, for developing those technology projects. It's critical. We've got to have the help to assist the teachers if we expect them to move forward. We can't just say, do it on your own. And as Paul said, Teresa's done a wonderful job. We need another Teresa, and we need a Teresa who can focus with our secondary staff.
It's very helpful for you to explain. I mean, this is a wonderful plan, and just knowing, we get questions like that from people in the community. Aren't you going to put iPads in or laptops for all the kids? And so now that I have the information, I can at least say, well, we're working on getting the teachers and the infrastructure going for it. And you do have to go at a reasonable pace and to make sure that everybody's all on board and can do it before you drop it in their lap and say, go to it.
And that is the iPads are the current it thing. And I've been questioned by other districts of where are you at and don't you feel we're not behind because we don't have iPads. Just because we don't have the latest and greatest with iPads doesn't. I'm a firm believer that every school district in this country's got really high quality people that are really pushing technology integration, and we need quantity of that, not just our 1-2 stars that are showing. Every school in our district, I can go out and pull out a person that I can say is integrating technology, and the iPads are a way of, we're pat ourselves on the back that we're doing a great thing, but buying it is one thing, effectively utilizing it in the classroom is another, and I think we're going down the right road.
And the other part of that, you do have listed in here that we would be sending, looking at a virtual school symposium that we'd be sending people to, so that's just another step down that direction also. Okay.
And Mr. Hay has been to that virtual symposium in the past. And I know he shared with us that it's much more than just virtual school. It really is cutting-edge technology, and maybe you want to...
Yeah, the name is a little deceptive. It's called the Virtual School Symposium, but it's put on by the International Association for K-12 Online and Blended Learning. And so it really gets at the way that you can leverage technology to transform education. Some of the greatest minds and activists, not in the stance of knock on your door, but people who are actually out in the field doing it, are there. I told the committee when I mentioned it, I've been to it twice, and out of the other dozens and dozens of conferences I've been to by different organizations, it was by far, head and shoulders, the best professional experience I've ever had. So it's definitely worthwhile to get a team together that is representative of our entire K-12 district to go and sort of, even the second time I went, they exploded my mind, made me come back with a whole new perspective about what we're doing, where we need to be going, and how we need to get there faster and faster.
Good. Any other questions? Well, I think we're all very excited about that, obviously, because it's something we've been talking about for a long time, and we're excited that you've got such a good prospect out there for our plan. So, thank you.
Thank you.